after Thales comes Anaximander, who theorized that all animal species first arose out of vapors, and that human beings have origins in the sea. For in primordial times, he says,
there arose fish, or animals much like fish, and humans grew in them. And then the fish-like animals burst, and men and women emerged.
Like Thales, he looked for a principle, a first basis of reality in the natural world, one universal truth that would define every substance and quality. But not a single thing could last long enough in one form to be the eternal substance he was looking for. Everything that exists is doomed to pass away into something else. Anaximander noticed how everything that exists comes into being and passes away. Darkness gives rise to light, and light collapses into darkness. The cold can smother heat, but heat arises out of the cold. Spotless white easily turns to black. Life passes out of every creature, but life also comes into being out of lifeless matter. As for water, it underwent transformations all the time. Anaximander could not tolerate such volatility in something that was supposed to be the foundation of all existence. Where is it that these things come from? It was illogical to think that they would be born out of nothingness, so what was creating them? And where did they go when they disappeared? If things that exist cannot come out of nothingness, they cannot go into nothingness either. Therefore, Anaximander decided that there must be some vague, universal substance from which everything comes, and into which everything goes away. He calls this operon, meaning limitless, or infinite, or indefinite. People in every age have put forth some suggestion as to how absolute infinity might appear, but Anaximander insists that it is utterly unknowable. The limitless thus spawns all things and properties of nature and receives them back into itself when they pass away. The limitless itself always has been and always will be. We are unaware of its constant presence because it is undefinable, with no definite traits by which we could perceive it. Otherwise, it would come into being and pass away like all the things it produces. And yet all the things in the universe which we do know come out of it. Anaximander has taken philosophy much further into the realm of abstraction than Thales did, by saying that the underlying nature of the world is something entirely elusive to any direct comprehension. Heraclitus of Ephesus, born roughly a decade after the death of Anaximander, was very eccentric. He said that the sun is as big as it appears to be, the size of a human foot. And he is said to have tried curing an illness by burying himself in manure. Heraclitus, like Thales, believed that the universe was formed from one element, and that one element, he said, was fire. Heraclitus associated fire with the divine and eternal cosmos, the life-giving sun, lightning, the moon, and other bright energies of the upper atmosphere. Every human soul is made from a tiny amount of this heavenly fire. Everything comes from fire, Heraclitus says, and will return to it. Fire creates all other elements by transforming into them through a certain downward path. Flame condenses to become air. The vapors condense to become water. And water finally condenses to become earth. And the elements can also rise back up this same path, becoming lighter and less dense, until they reassume their first form and reunite with the eternal fire of the sky. But while Heraclitus believed that the universe was formed on the basis of fire, he saw rushing water as an important metaphor for a different truth about the nature of all things, even the heavens. For he observed that you cannot stand in the same river twice. Because the water of the river is constantly flowing downstream, you always stand in different waters each time you set foot in the river. And because the waters are never in the same place, it will always be a different river. Heraclitus applied the metaphor on a broad scale. You cannot even stand in the same universe twice. The universe of one moment is inevitably different from the one in the moment before. Everything in the world is constantly changing. Like Anaximander before him, Heraclitus paid attention to how fleeting and permanent everything in the universe is. Everything exists in a constant state of coming to be and passing away. Some things quickly, others over great spans of time. The cycle itself is the only thing eternal and unbreakable. And nothing, no matter how solid and seemingly changeless, escapes its pull. It must be hard to dwell on this understanding, with its weighty implications for human life. All human things, too, must die off with time. Not only people themselves, but all the things they achieve and the nations they serve, and the memories of who they were. It is said that Heraclitus withdrew from society and suffered from deep depression. And so he was known among the people of antiquity and their Western posterity as the weeping philosopher. Like the rest of the universe, all human life is like a river. Every individual life is like a river, and the river is always flowing.